Welcome to another edition of Discover Tinley, where we highlight the positive things that are going on in Tinley Park, all the outstanding things that are happening in Tinley Park. We talk to the organizations and people that make Tinley Park a great place in which to live, and you all know Tinley Park is a great place in which to live. Thanks for watching us, Discover Tinley. Hopefully you're enjoying your winter season now. A little chilly out, but it'll be fine in a couple months. We'll be ready to go. Tonight's program, we're going to highlight some programs in Tinley Park. One's old program's been around for a while, and a new program that's been around the last month, a couple months now. And we want to highlight the police and fire department programs that are really distinctive in Tinley Park. And our first guests have been our program for a few years. The D.A.R.E program in Tinley Park's been around for over 20 years. And we've got two of Tinley Park's finest police officers, who are D.A.R.E officers in Tinley Park. Mr. Officer Shervino.
How are you, Ron?
Heim.
How you doing, Ron?
Welcome to Discover Tinley.
Thank you for
inviting us.
Okay. The D.A.R.E program. What is the D.A.R.E program? Let's tell people what in the world is the D.A.R.E program. We have an idea, but what is it all about?
Well, the D.A.R.E program started in 1983 in Los Angeles, California, and it kind of moved throughout the states. And in 1992, the Illinois State Police came into Tinley Park, and they actually taught the program for 1 year. And in 1993, the Tinley Park Police Department took over the program. Initially, it was an anti-drug program, and it stood for Drug Abuse Resistance Education, which is an acronym, and it's evolved throughout the years. And they realized that it's just not going to be an anti-drug program. It's actually about making good decisions. So I would say about 7 years ago, actually, right now. I did teach the old program back in the day. It was an anti-drug program, but now it is, like I said, making good decisions. And now the acronym for D.A.R.E stands for Define, Assess, Respond, Evaluate, which is to make better decisions. It breaks down the decision process one step at a time. So it's actually a really good, helpful thing for the students we teach.
So what are the topics you cover now in the program now? That must be a little bit different than what you used to cover then, huh?
It is, Ron, and that's a good question. With that, instead of focusing on drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, they've moved on to making good choices. And with those choices, they want to look at the possibilities that they have and what choice they're going to make, how they're going to respond to it, and then evaluate did they make that good choice. With that, we're talking about shoplifting, something that the children sometimes encounter, or cheating on a test, or possibly even going to a friend's house after their parents have said, don't do that. Different repercussions, and we look at the whole thing, the choices, what they could have made, what they did make, and also to look at back and follow up, could they have made a better choice afterwards in terms of evaluating.
Now, is the drug and substance abuse still part of the program? Is it still part of the trying to make better decisions on those things too?
It is, and with that, but we don't specifically talk about a specific type of drugs, but we talk about drugs in general. We do differentiate between over-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs, and also illegal drugs. But with that, are we making a good choice? For example, do we take a sore throat lozenge if we don't need it, if we don't have a sore throat? We talk about things like that type of a drug, as well as marijuana and other things. So it is still discussed, but making the choice.
A couple other things to add is, we go over bullying, hot button topic in schools. We go over friends, what kind of friends you make and everything else, and how those change over the years depending on situations. It's actually one of those programs that kind of keeps evolving throughout the years, and it kind of tailors the needs to what's going on with the student in today's schools.
Wow. How are the kids and teachers reacting to the program?
We have excellent turnouts. The teachers love us. We've been honored and humbled actually to work alongside a lot of great teachers over the years. Riley's, the Bissell's, the Budricks, the Stanoviches. I'm going to forget a lot of people.
Well, now you actually go into the schools.
We actually
talk about what's the process and what do? You go into schools and what's the process you actually go through?
Well, we do a lot of things even before we even get into schools. We do talk to the teachers and, see what their needs are and kind of tailor it to each different school depending on if they have issues possibly in bullying or, other things that are going on. So it's one of those processes that there's a lot of meetings and everything else to see what's going on in the school, and we kind of go from there. When it comes to the specifics on what we do 45 minutes to hour classes, depending on. We've had some schools that go for 30 minutes too, and then we got some schools that go for an hour. We do have up to 10 lessons, and we do actually have a little bit more. We do have some extra lessons we go into, and we kind of go from there. And it's one of those things that, like I said, it's, you know, if something goes on in that classroom, we might be talking about a different subject that day, depending on you know, if we have that subject that we could talk about. So we're used in a lot of different things in schools, not just, you know, the D.A.R.E program per se. We do a lot of other things, you know, and we're kind of there to, you know, help the schools, and we try to work together with the schools.
Wow. Talk about some things that maybe we're talking to some maybe some kids might be watching. What are some things kids should be doing to help make better decisions? What are some things you actually do teach about?
Well, one is pay attention to their surroundings. A lot of times we don't do that. A lot of us are tied up with technology, and we listen to our music-based earbuds or talking on the cell phone, things of that nature, and we're not paying attention. And the illustration I use is crossing the street when we're a little child. Our parents are next to us. They say look both ways, and then we proceed cautiously. A lot of the kids are forgetting to do that as they grow up. That's where in the schools what we do is we break it down. In the actual classroom, we have it's a technological-based program. It's on a little skit with some characters, and then we break that down of what happened in that, and then we evaluate it afterwards, just as you would with the D.A.R.E acronym, and then we try to relate that to things that are happening in Tinley Park. For example, somebody getting hit by a car, you know, that might be a pedestrian, or somebody making a poor choice. We can use things that we've had within the law enforcement experiences. People that were sitting in the same fifth grade seats, that they made some poor choices. So to pay attention, that's probably the biggest thing that kids can do, as well as pay attention to parents. A lot of times we don't think of it, but when we were 2 years old, we depended on our parents. And I use the illustration of falling down the stairs. We take that chance, but our parents pull us away from that. When we get a little older, we're not afraid of falling down the stairs, but we do have other things that we don't have life experiences in that our parents do, and we sometimes discard that in terms of our safety.
I'd just kind of like to add, just, you know, we teach a lot of common sense stuff. And I know it's kind of one of those things that you would think everyone would have that, and not necessarily the case sometimes. And we all, you know, do make poor decisions, and what do you do with that decision? You know, you got to learn from those decisions, and that's kind of what we talk about. And, you know, who it affects. Is it just going to affect you, the student? Well, it's going to affect a lot of people with decisions you make, and it might, you know, you might not reach your goals because of it.
Wow. And the bullying, what's their current thinking now on bullying, preventing that, or dealing with the bullying aspect? And that's being talked about a lot in schools nowadays.
Well, that's one of the neat things around that we do, is we actually partner with the schools because they have pillars of character. They have other programs that are involving bullying, as well as the president and first lady. A lot of public service announcements orient things around bullying, and it's a tough one. You know, we've changed the name of it over the years, but in essence, we've been talking about what we call a bystander. We all have an ability to do something about the bullies, but a lot of times we don't, because we don't want that bully to turn on us. A lot of times the bullies were bullied themselves at one time. And so we talk about things that they can do to try to help prevent that by, for example, going to new school. Most of our fifth graders are going on to a new middle school in the area. We say, hey, say hello to somebody each time you go into class for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And that way it puts a different impact on it. We talk about anonymous ways of telling about bullying. And then when I say telling, instead of tattling, we differentiate between that, so that we say, hey, listen, we're trying to keep somebody safe in these situations. And we know, as well as the students are aware of, naturally, that there's been some tragedies due to bullying cases. So we push that. We talk about the bus rides to and from, or walking to and from school, as well as school, because they're spending 5 days a week in the schools, 9 months out of the year. That's a lot of time with the other students, 8 hours a day, type of thing. And so that's probably the largest area that bullying's happening, so that's a good way to tackle it.
Why should Tinley Park keep the D.A.R.E program? Now, something's been controversy in the past. What's so special about our program that says Tinley Park should hang on to this?
You know, I don't think that you could put statistics on what we do. We're in those schools. We see what effect it has, and it doesn't just have the effect in fifth grade. I mean, we are out there, you know, and we're patrolling. It used to be a full-time job, and, you know, due to manpower and everything else. We went back to patrol, about 8 years ago?
We were working 50 hours a week.
50 hours a week just in D.A.R.E itself. So now we do the patrol and we also do the D.A.R.E, which, we see that with, just going to other schools, going to the Grissams, going to middle schools, going to the Andrews, the Tinley Park high schools, seeing that these people still know who we are, and they do get involved, and and then we see them working at the local Dunkin' Donuts or the McDonald's and everything else, and they come up to us and they thank us, and it's one of those things that that statistic's never going to be there. We're what we do for those 45 minutes a week. Hopefully we put a tool in their toolbox so they can actually, help themselves later on. I always say to them, hey, pressure's coming in 5th grade, or it might already be here. And if pressure's there, you got to start preparing for it now. And it's one of those things that I see that, some of these kids come up to me and say, hey, I'm going to college. Hey, I'm this now, I'm that now. I've been doing it 13 years. It's probably one of the things that I know, Officer Heim, we enjoy it. And it's tough to get up in the morning, it's tough to put the uniform on, it's tough to get prepared, but once we're in there, it's probably one of the best things we can do. We feel like, it's definitely something that we've had success with. I've had people come up to me, thank me. I've had people come up to me and say, hey, by the way, this is what's going on down the street. So, it's helped our job tremendously also. The report in the community.
You did not realize, that's your patrol officers first, and then you're doing the D.A.R.E beyond that. So that's a tremendous.
I don't think I can go to Jewel, to be honest with you, without somebody coming up to me, which is an awesome. It's humbling, and you're out there with your kids and just being yourself, and then next thing you know, you got a parent coming up thanking you. So it's one of those things that I can't thank them enough, and I'm just humbled.
How many kids do you think we've covered in the last 20-some years? How many do you think have gone through the D.A.R.E program?
It's a rough estimate, but I did the math.
Okay.
And I'm pretty good at math. It's about 30,000.
Oh, my goodness.
30,000 people. Students. And you know what? It's just amazing. We had a skating party, a couple months ago. We are teaching 900 students this year, and we had 220 of them show up, which is on a Monday night. It's not even a real school function. It's a D.A.R.E function, and we bring the crowds, which is awesome. And again, it's just one of those things. It's a community event. We we're kind of shocked sometimes to see what we can do.
One last thing, you got a little history. The Shervino name is famous with D.A.R.E. Talk about when the D.A.R.E started. Who started the D.A.R.E program in Tinley Park?
Actually, in '93, T.J. Grady. And
was a present trustee.
Yeah, and my uncle, Sam Shervino, actually started. Wow. And it kind of evolved from there. We had a Cedric go in there. We've had Saborski. We've had Kapos. Adamski works with us too right now, so I'm sorry if I forgot anybody. But, it's one of those things that, we have a lot of years. I think Adamski's got, 11 years like you do too? So it's just... it's one of those things that's kind of cool. It's, my uncle was in it, now I'm doing it, so it's pretty awesome.
Keeping the family.
Keep it in the family. My brother does it in Plainfield.
Are you serious?
I'm not lying. He does it in Plainfield. That's pretty awesome.
My goodness.
So yeah, I guess we shouting out everybody today on the Shervino.
Well, it's kind of interesting talking to the police officers on the special program dealing with the young people in town, and the D.A.R.E program has been around for a while, and it's kind of nice that it's keeping on going and keeping involved. Our next guest comes with the other side of the protection agencies here in the fire department. And we're kind of fortunate. We've got somebody who's just retiring from the fire department and somebody who's starting a brand new program with the fire department. So I'd like to introduce Phil Proper, who is the public education coordinator for the Tinley Park Fire Department.
Hi, good evening.
And Renee
Grzeszkiewicz.
Okay.
Very difficult last name,
That's right.
but it's pronounced Grzeszkiewicz.
Beautiful. Thank you. You did it right. And she's the coordinator for a brand new program called, what is it called? First Corps.
Fire Corps.
Fire Corps.
It's a new pilot program that we just rolled out in 2015 and hope to continue and go forward with.
Wow. Now, Bill, you've been in the fire business for how many years?
Well, altogether, I used to work at Oak Forest Hospital. We were a combination police and fire, and so I was in charge of their fire department for the 20 years there, and I had 18 years here, so 38 years altogether I've been doing it, I guess. And
Time to retire, isn't it?
It is time to retire, yes, sir. It is.
So you've been with Tinley Park Fire Department for 18 years now.
18 years.
What's been your positions with the fire department in Tinley Park now?
Well, the first 10 years that I worked here, I was online with doing shift work on the fire department, but I did public education at the time too. And the last 8 years is just strictly with public education coordinator, but with doing fire prevention, and I did some fire investigation help too. So.
Okay. Now, what's the public education? What is that all about? What do you do in that program?
Well, the big thing is going and talking to various different groups, mainly the kids at schools. And Renee was a big help with me last year, talking to all the kids and just doing different things with the kids, teaching them different things depending on the age group that they are. We talk to seniors, and I have a special program there. It's called Remember When. And we have a lot of fun with that program with the seniors. But again, it's all teaching fire prevention, fire safety, and it's just a great whole big program all tied in together. So.
Can you give us a few hints on fire prevention that people should really be aware of now, that especially in the winter time, that things they should be looking out for and preventing fires at the home?
Well, the big thing is they should all have good working smoke alarms. And what we're saying is, a lot of times they only last about 10 years. So they need to make sure that they have ones that are up to date that are working, so that if a fire should happen, they know they can get out. And that's the big thing, is to get out of the house first, never going back in, and then giving us a call on 911 so we can come and take care of whatever the problem is. And that's the number one thing. And then they should have escape plans. There's all kinds of other things that they can do, but having good working smoke alarms, that to me is probably the most important right now.
Wow.
And then there's other things. Wintertime, a lot of people use space heaters, and they need to be 3 feet away from anything that's combustible. We know it gets cold and stuff like this. So far, we've had a pretty mild winter, speaking from comparatively what we've had in the past. But that is what's important, is to have, just good common sense stuff as far as for fires and fire safety in the wintertime. So if the furnace should be checked, but I can go back over and over. Smoke alarms are so important.
What's kind of special about the Tinley Park Fire Department, you say? What have you noticed over the years that's kind of special about our own Tinley Park Fire Department?
We have a unique department because the fire department itself is just, we have one of the best departments in the area, but we have also one of the best departments is because of the equipment we have. We have modern equipment. We've got an excellent training tower out here on 183rd Street. These guys all go through a lot of specialized training, not just fighting fires, but just for extrication on cars. Because I-80 is out here, these guys go through a lot of crashes, and they getting people out of the vehicles and getting them to the hospital. It's just there's so many different unique things about this department that, but that's it. It's a matter of training, and more training.
Wow. Yeah, I know they go through quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, you've been involved in several other programs. What other programs in the fire department have you been involved in? What kind of special projects have you assisted in?
One big thing is just, we are a family too. So I remember one time we had one of our firefighters, Bruce Cizek, who was literally dying of cancer, and we put together, in 22 days, we were able to put together a benefit for him at, Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. And we were able to fill that place up. We had close to 1,000 people that showed up. And again, this is how the family works, with the fire department all working together, different committees and doing things, and we were able to raise over $65,000 for him to cover his bills and everything else at that time. That was a big deal, but you think about, here's how the fire department can come together to do this, okay?
Right. Now, you've been involved in a couple of special things in Tinley Park. A statue that's by the train station. I understand you had a hand in getting that up there, huh?
Well, myself and Chief Dunn, Ken Dunn, we were the ones that really worked at it to get it done. But if it wasn't for the support of the village hall and for the trustees and the mayor and everything else, because it took a lot of money and funding to do that. And they opened up the purse strings to let us do it, and we were able to put that statue together. Around the base of it is all of the names of all of the firefighters that were in the first 100 years. And we had the big part was making sure the spelling is correct and getting those all done properly and carved in there and stuff. And then, but it was a lot of work and everything else. But Chief Dunn and I were the ones that worked the hardest on that.
And you had something to do with the World Trade Center beam coming to Tinley Park, huh?
Yeah, I had a lot to do with that. I wrote a lot of letters, and then one day I got an email that Tinley Park was accepted, that we could pick up a piece of steel. Now you could get something under 250 pounds, they'd ship it to you, but I was looking at getting something, I wanted something to last. So the lady I was in touch with out there, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, that's how we were, our contact was. She, well, what are you looking for, Bill? I said, well, we're coming out there with a 1-ton pickup truck, so I need something like 1,000 pounds, 6 feet long. That's what would fit in the bed. So the piece of steel we got weighed 1,008 pounds. It was 6 feet long, and we went to the Hangar 7 at JFK Airport, and we were able to pick it up. Quite a trip getting out there, but we did make it.
Well, thanks for bringing some of those special things at Tinley Park, and thanks for your service at Tinley Park for 18 years, and keep up the good work in your retirement. And now we got a new program starting out that you had something to do with, and it's called the Fire Corps, right?
Correct.
Okay, what did you have something to do with starting that, or?
I kind of come up with the idea with it, and again, the Village Hall supported it, and the chief supported it, and Deputy Chief Reardon, he supported it. But you need that support in order to get it going, and we finally got it all together, and then it's a great program, and Renee has taken over the reins.
Well, talk about it, Renee. What is the fire? Now, first of all, what's your position in the fire department?
I am a firefighter
Okay.
for the Village of Tinley Park, and I also do, I'm an assistant to the public education coordinator. And so during, the busy season for us, which is Fire Prevention Month, October, through those months, kids are going back to school. We're really a big presence in the schools, teaching the kids, fire safety, and the importance of what Bill said, smoke alarms. That's really big. That's one of the, the things that we really start preaching at a certain age. We of course cater it to the age group, depending on how old they are, what they can absorb, what they can, really absorb and maybe bring home to their parents. We see a lot of that too, kids helping their parents understand the importance of these things too.
So what's this Fire Corps now? What's this all about?
Well, Fire Corps, it's a pilot program we just rolled out in 2015. We want to continue forward with it. We have 5 founding members, fantastic volunteers, and what our goal, our purpose is to bridge that gap between the fire department and our community. So we're hoping that they can get the word out for us, through the community, with speaking to their neighbors, maybe their congregation, so we can get people to really understand the importance of smoke alarms and CO alarms. Just the basics, like having a very visible address. For if someone does have to call 911, if we, do have to look for that house, making sure that we have that visibility so when we can get there faster. So these people, they're really there to help us do that and get out into the community, because unfortunately when we get there, it already happened. So we want, and the whole idea is prevention. Prevention is the best cure. So if we can stop it from happening and, reduce, reduce fires within town, we can make our community safer and our firefighters safer also. So.
How'd this get started, and where's your funding coming from?
Actually, Bill was the one who came up with the idea. It actually is popular on the West Coast. The West and the Southwest, they do actually have a lot of Fire Corps programs out there, and they have a lot of different specialized training. So depending on their demographic and where they're located, what that training would be. Different climate, different neighborhood, it just depends. But this program was possible with a very generous grant that we got from Allstate agent She's right here in Tinley Park, Christine Holmes, and she gave us a wonderful grant for 2015 and actually promised one for 2016 also. So we're very, very lucky to have her helping with this program.
Wow, tremendous. That's nice to see that community support like that coming through, especially with the funding and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, because that's one of the difficulties, as Bill was mentioning, is getting the funding for these programs. You know, that's really important. Without the funding, we can't even begin. So the funding was very generous, and like I said, it's very nice that she's continuing it in 2016 for us.
Briefly talk about the training you involved as far as training these people to do what they're going to be doing.
And that's where the grant comes in also, because we need that training. They need to be trained on how many smoke alarms someone would need in their home, the placement of them, the placement of carbon monoxide detectors, how many you need. There are so many different things that, you know, they need education-wise to be able to go out into the community and give those people the information that we have in fire prevention. And so the training is very, very important, and you know, we have put them through a primary stage of training, but we have something called continuing education for them. So periodically, every 1 to 2 months, we'll have a continuing education class where they learn something new, the use of fire extinguishers, you know, CPR, all the important things that we want to reach our community with.
These are all volunteers you've got?
Absolutely,
doing
they're all
this, huh?
the 5 volunteers, and they are wonderful. They have really been available, and they have really taken advantage of this opportunity. And it's been nice to see them. They've been almost at every event that we've had. They were just at Tinley Wish. We had all 5 of our members there, and you know, they're really active participants, which is
Wow.
very nice.
And you enjoy being in the fire department?
I love being a firefighter. I do.
Okay.
I must confess.
You couldn't pay me enough to do what you guys do.
We've heard that before.
that's
We are the crazy ones.
Tremendous service that you provide.
Yeah.
So
But you have to love the job, and if you don't, I guess you don't belong there. But I
Yes.
really, truly love the job. And Bill, I know, has truly loved the job for many years.
well, thank you so much. Thank you for your service to the fire department all these years and the tremendous ideas you're giving, and you're leaving a good legacy here with Renee to start going. And good luck to you and your new position here now, keeping that fire corps going.
Thank you.
And we're very fortunate in Tinley Park to have tremendous fire protection, police protection, and usually some excellent examples tonight of our guests. So thanks for watching Discover Tinley, and we'll see you next month.